we will call the purchasing committee to order. Carla, will you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Phillips.
Present.
Commissioner McAdoo.
Here.
Commissioner Boyd.
Here.
Commissioner Gooch.
Here.
Commissioner Johnson.
Present.
Commissioner P.
Here.
Chairman Clark.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chairman P., have you had a chance to review the minutes of the previous meeting?
I have, and I found that they were in order and move for their approval.
We have a motion for approval. Do we have a second? We have a second. All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. The minutes stand approved. Do we have anybody for public comments?
No, sir, we do not.
Excellent. So we have no public comments. Mr. Clark, you are first up. It's RFP that we received last purchasing meeting that we asked you to take under advisement, or you asked to take under advisement, and the committee consented. Have you made a decision or a determination?
Yes, sir. On this RFP, we had companies that one company may be higher on one item, but the next item they were lower. And so it made it very difficult to compare apples to apples. Some of the items show that are bidded per hour, and then some of them are bidded per day. And then we had some of them that would charge mileage, some of them did not. And then some of them did not have a disposal fee, some of them did. So it is my recommendation that
Before you come with your recommendation, are you suggesting with those comments that it was difficult to do a comparative analysis so that you could come up with a good understanding of what the bids were?
Correct.
Okay. I just want to make
Yes, sir. And
because that's what I
it
heard
was
you
very
intimating, but that
Yes,
you
sir.
didn't actually say that. So,
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead. I'm sorry.
But due to those circumstances, I ask that or recommend that we rebid this RFP back out and define the needs that we have.
Okay. If that is your recommendation, have you spoke to Eric, the chief of staff, on this?
I have multiple times.
Okay, and so if that is your decision or your recommendation, I would assume we are going to rewrite the RFP in such a way that we can get better responses for that comparative analysis that you would like?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions from the committee?
I noticed, is that a spreadsheet? What do you have there? Is that a spreadsheet of the?
Yes, sir, it is. And you can see.
Basically, you telling us you're looking at apples and oranges, not apples and apples.
Correct. That is correct.
Well, we got one more here. I'll take that. If it's blank, is that no bid on that particular?
Correct. We did not have an item listed for that particular item.
Now,
So
I'm not confident.
one of those bids was out of Memphis, so we didn't pull their bids. They can't get here in a reasonable amount of time. However,
Are you saying because they are 4 hours away, that they could not meet their necessary response time?
that is correct.
Okay, so
And
there
that was an
a,
RFP.
that was what was their response?
1 hour.
Okay.
And so what you have in front of you is a company named Ozone, a company named Premier, and a company named Hull. Hull is out of Greenbrier, and I Googled it. It's 58 minutes away. That's not including traffic. However, it's 58 minutes. I listed all of the items that were on each RFP and put them on a spreadsheet to compare the prices. And as you can see, Some have things, some people don't. Some have more, some don't. Take a 4-gas monitor that measures the hazardous materials in the atmosphere: oxygen, carbon monoxide, hydrogen sulfide, and carbon monoxide. One of those didn't even have that on there. So there's just several different things there that I think, to compare apples to apples, we submit an RFP that will spell out the items that need to be bidded out per hour.
So basically, you're gonna narrow the scope of the RFP so that the respondents can all respond as much the same as they possibly can.
Correct.
Move to rebid.
We got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Discussion.
So, when you say, I mean, there's quite a few things here. So comparing the apples to oranges, so to speak, is that a big percentage of this, or is it a few items? And what I'm getting at, I know that, I think we've done this in the past, is that you can call and get clarification. Would it be easier or best to go ahead and rebid the whole thing out?
And I think I gave you the wrong one. Here's this one. That may can answer your questions. This was my analysis.
Okay, in other words, so, again, I don't know if
Correct.
the
So
apples and
there's-
oranges are like 6 things or 100 things, or,
There's multiple things.
Okay.
It would take somebody quite a while. I've spent many hours on
you've already
this.
spent.
Chairman Phillips.
If we rebid this thing, what's the new bid gonna look like?
So I will
to
list-
get different results.
List out, for the first thing, I would list items that would be pertinent to Rutherford County, that we have encountered relating to history, and then take those items and have them submit a price per item per hour, because a lot of them did not break them down for an hour. It's a day. So if they say 2 hours, is that a day rate, or is that an hourly rate? So I want to make sure that we are getting the best price for the project.
I guess another question I would have, just let me think through this. Like, for example, on this page, I guess it's the second page. So, this company, nothing. Are they suggesting that when it comes to sampling equipment, that they can't do anything?
That's what I want to find out.
Okay. And this company on this, they got one item. This company has something for everything.
That is correct. And so there's some disparity there that we want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity. They may have forgotten that they had this number. They had it and they didn't charge for it, or is it a no charge but we have it? Is it, or this other company's charging for their shoelaces? You know, so
So one of the things that I would recommend, if I could, is that when you send, if we get to the point where the committee agrees with your recommendation about rebidding it, that if they don't offer that service, they state that they don't offer that particular service type of equipment, or you see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Instead of not responding to it and leaving us guessing as to whether that's a no charge item or we don't respond to that, we need them to clearly delineate. They don't get to leave things blank. In other words,
Correct.
that's not something we can do. That's not a response we can. That's not a situation we can respond to, and so we don't have a response to that part of it, or no response, or no bid, something to that effect. Don't just leave it blank or put a zero amount out there. Zero doesn't tell us anything, it just tells us there's a zero. Does that make sense?
And in these situations, they were not listed at all. So we took the item, and some were listed, some were not. Or one was listed and the other was not. Or one was charged per day,
Right.
one was charged per hour.
Well, I think you can get a per unit charge, a standardized per unit charge. I think you can get them to do that, whether it's by the hour or by the day. But leaving things blank is problematic.
Well, I think the key is standardize, all of them, give the same, you know, per hour, per day, per week, per year, whatever it is, they all the same.
My concern is on two of these companies, 75% of the questions aren't answered. So to the company who answered 100%, is this fair? I mean, is it a
Well, we didn't-
clarification that, for example, 30-gallon drum poly new open top? I have no idea what that is. Ozone, are you saying that ozone and Premier, that could be something that's free, they don't charge for?
Could be, or they do not have that particular device. And that is, those are the things that we want to find out.
Who's doing it for us now?
No one. This is the first time we've ever done this.
Again, I'm thinking out loud on suits. This would suggest to me that ozone and Premier have no suits.
Yes. But I'm,
Or they don't charge.
or they don't charge. We need to find that out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, could a phone call say, okay, you didn't answer 75% of the question. Is this something that you don't charge for, or you just don't provide the service?
My feelings is there's so much here that we need to find out and dig deep into that I don't know if we will have the time to get that along with the vendor themselves to find out.
If, Commissioner, if we were to do that kind of question, then there would probably need to be a pre-bid meeting in it, where those questions could be asked and answered. Because you can't ask one question of one vendor without giving the answer to all the applicants for the bid.
Well, I'm not saying to.
So once you pose the question to one vendor about a specific item, you've got to give that answer to all the potential respondents.
Right, that could be brought back.
Right, which is the point of a pre-bid. So you have a pre-bid meetings where you discuss. So let's assume that if there's a question that a vendor has about the bid pack, the RFP, that question can be posed, but that question and answer then has to be disseminated to all the applicants or the potential respondents to the RFP, if that makes sense.
It makes.
So, we did not have a pre-bid for that to happen. We just didn't have the forethought to think that was necessary. I don't know if I'm addressing your question or not, but I want to make sure we do this by the book is my concern.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know how fair this is. When, in other words, if someone doesn't answer 75% of the questions, is this just an incomplete bid and we reject it?
According to the attorneys, we can rebid this if we so choose. Yes, sir. You want to identify yourself?
Yes, sir.
I
My
mean,
name
quick,
is-
because this is a bit, we normally don't do this.
Thank you,
This
I
is out of
appreciate
order. So can you tell me who you are and what the state
It's,
you're,
Matt Church, I'm the regional director for Ozone Environmental. And I'm looking at the bid that I submitted, and some of the questions you're asking about the PPE, those charges are on here. I'm just wanting to make sure you guys have them.
Or do you want to look at this and see if you?
I would love to
well,
look at it. haven't got
I
to
would
see
say
it.
that would probably, we have a motion and a second, Mr. Chairman Gooch, we're probably a little bit out of order if we do that. I'm not opposed to him looking at it, but I want to make sure that the county doesn't get itself in a legal situation at this particular point. And since I don't have the county attorney here, I want to be very careful.
If we rebid this too, I don't think we need to be showing everybody.
Correct.
That is
It's
correct.
already public document.
That's my
That's my
biggest concern.
question. And McAdoo, haven't we before talked with vendors and for clarifications at a public meeting?
Only with the attorney present.
I've never had the attorney here in the meeting.
Yeah, we asked the attorney questions. It's like we're rebidding this right now. And he's gonna rebid it and he's gonna go through all this motion to make sure each vendor is asking the right question, the same question. we would also put in there, consult our county attorney.
I know, but I've been to hundreds of these meetings where where we've talked with vendors for clarification.
Talking.
And now, all of a sudden, it's against the law.
And I don't think, no, that's not, with great respect, I don't
Yeah.
think that's what we're saying here, Chairman Gooch. I think what we're saying is because of the volume of missing data and the inability to do a proper comparative analysis, we have rebid things before. If you recall, the solid waste director, we had a similar
Oh, yeah.
situation with that truck, and we had to rebid that truck, if you remember. And so we on rare occasion, we do rebid. It's not,
And
it's
that's not unusual.
that's not out of order. It's certainly out of order. What I want to make sure of, though, is that we follow the letter of the law with regard to awarding this. And so I am hesitant to move forward with an award tonight as one member of this body. Whether we rebid it or not, we can take under advisement with our county attorney to make sure that we're on solid legal ground. But I don't think we're required to make a decision tonight. I think what we can do, let me ask, if I may, let me ask Chris Clark a question. Are we under serious time constraints to make a decision in the immediate future with regard to awarding a contract for environmental services?
No, sir, these situations are fairly rare.
Okay.
However, we have had them occur, and we want to have a contractor ready to respond when that happens.
Correct. I think Chairman Gooch raises some questions that are serious enough that I know we have a motion in a second, so we have to deal with that as a parliamentary issue. But I'm persuaded.
Well, we're on discussion, right?
We're on the discussion, that's correct, but I don't want us to forget the motion in a second. But I'm concerned, I would feel a little more comfortable, Chairman Gooch, if I had the opportunity, the committee had the opportunity to consult the county attorney. That's where I'm at.
Well, then I think we need to pull the motion because I've got what company did you say you're from?
Ozone Environmental.
Okay, are you aware 80% of your questions are not answered?
Sir, is it okay to answer?
Briefly.
The
We're
answer to
definitely out of order
To
here.
the RFP is all the answers are there. To the RFP that was sent out to us, there's an answer, it's lined item. Every answer is answered. Now, if there's been additional documentation provided from emergency management on specific items, that would be unknown to us. We submitted our packet and it's lined item. There's rates for personnel, equipment, PPE, which is personal protection equipment. It's all in what you asked for. We provided the answers to what you asked for. Now, if you made an amendment to it, we'd be more than happy to give you rates on pencils sitting in our office if you need that too. But I just want to make sure you guys are aware. We answered all the questions in the RFP.
To move along, can you get with him and make sure he knows what you want?
Absolutely.
So,
That was the plan of the motion.
That's what we do with the RFP.
Yeah.
And define
That's
the
why
I like
we're
to
gonna
amend
rebid
that
it.
motion.
The motion on the floor is to rebid.
Yeah, I know, but I like to amend it. I can vote to amend the motion.
Well,
I like to amend the motion that we include upon a county attorney approval to rebid this. And that's not in there. We've talked about county attorney, but it's not in the motion. And I like to amend the motion that the county attorney look over our rebid and approve it and offer his opinion before you put it out.
Yes.
I'll second his amendment.
He would look over the rebid.
Yeah,
Whether it's okay for us to rebid it. or
right,
not.
right,
Oh, okay.
right.
Just make sure that we're
I-
not.
Make sure that,
if we can clean this up just a little bit. Believe it or not, I've gone to school watching county commission meetings, Chairman Phillips. I would respectfully ask that Commissioner Johnson, if you would rescind your motion and that second so that we can reframe the motion to include the oversight of the county attorney that would clean this up just a little bit, because now
Instead of the amendment.
yeah, because we got a motion and a second, and proper rules say we have to now vote on that, because the amendment to the motion properly should have done before the second, not after the second. And so what I want to make sure that we're in proper order. Would you gentlemen mind doing that? Or if not, you don't have to.
Well, the reason I made the motion the way I did is because of my understanding, we already checked with the county attorney. He said we were fine to rebid.
No, sir, that is not what we said. What we said is that he worked with Eric Hennessy on basically
Yes, sir.
the
Yes, sir.
ability to do the comparative analysis for apples to apples, not the rebidding aspect. As I would like Nick Christensen as the county attorney to do that, just to make sure that we are doing this absolutely by the book. And so that, I think that's what Chairman McAdoo is suggesting in his amendment to the motion. So if we can start all over, if you and,
I rescind my motion.
I understand my second.
okay.
I would send my.
Okay, so now, Chairman P, Vice Chairman P, I'm gonna ask you to remake the motion after hearing this discussion, please.
I will make the motion that we, consider rebidding, or that we rebid, this proposal with our county attorney's approval.
With consultation from the county attorney. Perfect. Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Okay, we've got a second. Any discussion on this?
So the motion is to rebid if the county attorney says okay.
That's correct. With
He's gonna say it's okay.
Well, then I think that answer, does that, and I'm not to get into a back and forth, but does that now answer your concern?
No.
What is your, okay, so I'm not aware of your, I thought
Okay.
that was your concern.
My concern, I guess right now, kind of changed, is that somewhere, and you know, it's a difficult bid to read, I'm assuming, that in the bid, they've answered the question, it's just not here. How do we get it from what they sent in to here? In a rebid, this becomes a public document. And so all three vendors can look and say, okay, they bid this, maybe we can cut it a little bit, or we can raise, whatever. Then it doesn't become fair. So what what I would like
It
to,
should still be sealed.
Yeah, so why is, if everybody has access to that information, where's the unfairness?
We rebid
because
things.
one company's got about 100% of the questions answered.
So
The other two have about 80%.
to help you define your question, I took the information off of one company, I listed them. I took the information from the next company, I listed them. I took the third company, I listed them. The fourth company that bidded was in Memphis.
That
I
don't-
did
he
not
don't-
list
that
it.
we don't like that.
So that's what I did. So not comparing, however, this is the information I have. With that being said, there are items that are in there that has per day or per hour. Take out however this many lists, we still are not comparing apples to apples. To treat it fairly. And honestly, I couldn't tell you who the best answer is at this point concerning the items.
Even with this gentleman having all these categories filled in,
This company.
he's
answered
looking at it
questions
maybe
that
by
weren't
the hour, this guy's getting his
Correct.
bids by the
Yes,
day.
sir. Yes, sir.
So it's
Yes,
not
sir.
actually.
Yes, sir.
Is
And
this check off, is this list, as it's listed now, part of the bid for the company to go and fill in the blanks?
Yes, sir. That would, if we
This
rebid
company
this,
answered.
there would be a
But it's
list
not
of
one
items.
on the bid.
If they cannot
Put in additional
provide that,
information.
that
And that's what's
they say
listed
no,
here, not here, right?
cannot do.
Right.
So this was not in this list? was
No,
not
sir.
listed
That
like
list
this.
was not
We don't
in
know.
our RFP.
Okay, I can support rebidding.
You see what I'm saying? It's broad. Send me a list of what you're going to charge for hazardous material cleanup. Well, some have more, some have less, some take by hours, sometimes. And
But I would
the
include-
RFP was broad.
I would include this and also invite the vendor, if they have particular questions about what information you can invite them to give you a call so you can say, well, this is what exactly we're looking
I can tell you what we will do going forward. If if the motion is successful in a rebid with, after consulting with the county attorney, we will have a pre-bid.
Yeah.
We will do that.
Okay, I can support that.
We will do that.
Yes.
Is there any further discussion, Chairman Phillips?
I thought I was clear, but Chris, maybe I'm not anymore. You see these color-coded things here, what this guy back here is saying is that he answered all the questions. And what you're saying is that this guy answered more than you asked for.
Not necessarily. I asked for what have you got for a response? I got this much, and I got this much, and this much. One's probably bigger than the other, but to be fair, when we look at these items, is to compare apples to apples.
So the rebid would narrow it down,
Correct.
and everybody
we
be
would-
on the same page.
And I will request a pre-bid meeting prior to the.
Since this is the first time we did that, it might take some conversation with a company like that if they're unclear as to what they
Absolutely.
didn't put down, and that's permissible.
And yes, and that is exactly the point of the
That's
pre-bid.
permissible, right.
That is the point of the pre-bid.
Okay.
And we didn't do that, and the reason I say that is we had a pre-bid conference earlier today on radio contracts, and it was very necessary and informative, where the vendors got to ask those kind of questions, and so that was the purpose.
And
We should have
wanna
done it
be-
here, we
Wait,
didn't.
And we want to be fair.
I'm sorry?
We just didn't know.
We should have done it here, and we didn't.
Sure.
That's right.
That's exactly right.
You don't always do it, but on things that are somewhat complicated,
Complicated.
Yeah.
you need to do it. Any further discussion? Seeing none, call the roll on the motion and the second. Did we get a second?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, on the motion and second. Go ahead.
Commissioner Phillips,
Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd,
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner P,
Yes.
Chairman.
Yes. Okay, we will, oh,
Yeah, another typo.
thank you. We will, after consulting with the county attorney, we will bid this without the extra. All right, next, we're on, and I will, before you give those out, Chris, I want to consult with Nick to determine if those are open to public disclosure, because nobody has seen those except this committee. I haven't seen those. I think Eric has seen them, but I don't believe they are open to
That may
Tennessee
be
Public
mainly-
Records request, but I'm going to verify that. And so, in the efforts to make sure that nobody has an advantage, Chairman Gooch, let me consult with the county attorney. You are not to give those to anybody till you hear from me, okay?
Yes, sir.
That'd be great. Thank you, sir. If there's no objection from the committee. If there is, say so now.
Not no
We want to do it
Sorry to
by,
be complicated.
everybody in here wants to do it by the book, and so
Yeah.
sometimes we just want to be careful. Okay, next item is new bids for Rutherford County Facilities Management Landscaping bid. I bet you that's Robert Shue.
Yes.
Roberto. I hope you aren't gonna complicate our lives any more than they are.
No, we shouldn't.
What are we doing, Robert?
Landscaping. So I think Adam may have discussed this with the committee already, but we inherited quite a few county properties when we took over EMS and fire, Blackman One Stop. We only had two county employees that did all the mowing, all the landscaping. It's almost impossible to keep the properties looking the way they were when built. We've really become like mostly grass mowers. It's difficult. And recently we lost one of those employees who decided he had a better opportunity, so he left. In the meantime, we've tried to look for like part-time people. It's difficult to find somebody that has experience in landscaping that's not already doing it as for himself or as a company. We're in a bind right now. Grass is growing, properties need work. We have one full-time county employee, and we get workhouse inmates. But we only get two, so, and obviously they can't drive the vehicles, so we have one truck, 3 people, all trying to run around and take care of all the county properties. So what we decided to do with what we have discussed, I think Adam's discussed this with the mayor, was to take like a core area, which is downtown. And we're looking at the Murfreesboro Health Department, the old health department, the judicial center, county clerk's office, and the parking garage. And that's what this bid is tonight, to award that, hopefully award that to a company that just takes care of that core area.
So each building has different landscaping requirements. Some, there's a lot of mulch and bushes and no grass, and others, there's a lot of grass and no mulch and no bushes. How did you construct an RFP to deal with the disparate types of facilities we have around the county?
In the bid specs, it's
Having just
it's
been through a little
cover
bit of that
everything.
exercise a minute ago, I wondered how we're gonna compare apples to apples again.
Basically, it covered that in the bid specs, because some properties, you're right, don't have flowers, but they have bushes. Other properties have bushes and no flowers. So this was a blanket. It includes everything. If they go to one property that's mostly grass and trees and shrubs, then that's covered in the bid specs. If they go next door, like the judicial center, which has everything, grass, trees, flowers, shrubs, and some of that we have to replant every year. Some of it dies to try to keep those properties looking like the downtown area should look like. We covered that in the bid specs. So it's not, hey, mow the grass, cut the bushes. It's plant flowers, weed and feed, mow. It's what you would hire a professional landscaping company to come in and do. And I did that by consulting with landscapers.
I take care of the winter, the ice.
No, they won't do like sidewalks and things. No, this is just landscape.
Did the RFP include the courthouse, or is that separate?
The courthouse is separate.
That's what I thought, okay.
Who does the courthouse?
Carter Farms Nursery, Jack Carter. He's got a nursery off Barfield.
And does he mow also, or?
Yes.
Yes.
He does a good job.
He does.
He's-
Which is why I asked. I do not want to change. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. So part of the bid specs included what we've learned from Jack, what he's done here.
Oh,
And,
outstanding.
he
I was
plants-
wondering if you kind of talked to him a little bit.
Seasonal flowers and things
Yeah.
that he plants here every year. He does an excellent job, and that's what we're requesting from the vendors.
So he kind of set the standard for you to write this for the other.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. I like that answer. Good. If there are no further questions about the nature of the bid, why don't we go ahead and open them?
Yes, we received 2 bids in. The first one is from Prestige Lawn Service.
Do we have enough copies?
We got the.
Yeah, hang
You
on.
got an
last
original,
one.
don't you?
Yes, I
Okay.
got my original.
Yeah, we got
You
We
can
got
that one.
plenty.
Okay.
That one's
Yeah.
for you.
We got another. You sure what I can do?
Here, I'll tell you what it says.
You got to share with your favorite commissioner down there, Chairman P.
One of the reasons we work well together.
All right.
That's what I knew.
That's what.
And all right, you got a copy of this. Where's the original? You got
I got it.
You got it, okay,
Mhm.
fine.
Do you need this one so I can?
No.
open it?
No, I don't need it. I got.
We can share.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Is this for a 1-year bid, or what, how's that working, Robert?
It's going to be 1 year with the potential, with a 3-year total annual renewal. And that's going to be based on the service quality.
And I'm assuming if they went to the properties in question to look at it and say, okay, this is,
It was,
So they
we had
were-
a mandatory
man, okay.
walkthrough of every property.
The second bid is from All Seasons Landscape Management. Okay, thanks, sir.
Since you two just did a really good job sharing, I'll let you share one more time.
So the contractor who does the courthouse didn't bid? Or
No.
they-
He already had,
He's too
because he's got a business, he took on the courthouse and he's loaded. He respectfully declined.
45,600.
We get bids like this sometimes, a lot of them are pretty close from time to time. Do we do some kind of a background check, how long you've been in business and who are some of your clients, that kind of stuff?
We have experience with both of these bidders. I'm
Oh, good.
actually kind of surprised that others didn't, because we have experience with several of the others that we've had that have done other properties for us in the past. But Murfreesboro's growing, and a lot of these companies, they're busy. They've taken on more properties
Yeah.
over the years. They've grown their business, and they've reached a plateau or gotten as big as they want to be.
Rob, are you able to give the committee, after reviewing this is the first time you've seen these bids, although you're familiar with both of these vendors, are you able to make a recommendation, or would you like to wait and us move down the calendar and address another item, and we can come back to you? We can do whatever you want. I just want to make sure you're comfortable with whatever recommendation we make. You don't have to make it right this second. I believe what we can do is we can move you to the heel of the calendar, and we can take up the other matter that's on the calendar so you have a chance to review, and then you can come back today, or you can come back next month, or you can make a recommendation now. You have three options, as I understand
I
it.
would make a recommendation.
I'm sorry?
I would make a recommendation.
Okay, would you like to make that recommendation now, or would you like to wait to the end of the meeting? Because I can put you on the heel of this meeting so you have a chance to review them if you would rather, or you can make it now. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm. I do.
I don't want you to feel like you're under pressure to do it.
Take 10 minutes, look at them.
Yeah.
Come back.
Okay. I can do that.
All right, why don't you go back there and look at them, and we will take you back up at the heel of today's calendar. In the meantime, we'll get to,
Would you stop that to the heel?
oh yeah, I need a motion and a second to put him on the heel of the calendar. Thank
So
you.
moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Without objection, you're moved to the heel of the calendar. Thank you, Rob, we'll see you in about 10 minutes. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. The only reason I made that recommendation, you said grass is growing, and I thought there was a bit
Yeah,
of
we gotta
urgency
make-
to make a decision today, and I wanted to give you the time to make a good recommendation. I was actually paying attention.
Yeah, we gotta make a decision.
I know that surprises you. All right. We are now moving to the RFQ for a construction manager at risk, or CMAR. You want to join us?
Yes, absolutely.
Why don't you tell us what we're doing? Introduce yourself to the committee.
Yep.
And tell us what we're doing here.
Okay. I'm Ron Cosentino,
Bar Klein and Sweeney.
Klein and Sweeney.
Oh, it used to be. Yeah, never mind. Klein and Sweeney, sorry.
It still is, I think, at this point. But I'm an architect, and what we're looking at today is the Rutherford County request for qualifications, proposals for a construction manager at risk for the project being the forensic lab.
Ron, explain to the committee why, because I had this conversation with Chairman P in my office an hour ago. Explain to the committee why you and Mr. Klein think this is important and the relevance to this project that you guys are currently programming and designing now. I want everybody to understand this part of it.
There's several procedures in going for a bid. I'm sure you're all well aware of the fact that you can do a hard bid or you can do CM at risk. Hard bid means that you have everything complete, drawings, specifications, you've done the investigation, you know all about the soil, you know everything about everything that's going to involve with it. There's a potential for extras, because in the process of a project like this, which is quite involved, there's a possibility of missing something. And that missing something could mean an extra, and it could be substantial. Even though we do very careful analysis of our work, there's always a potential that something along the way gets missed. In a smaller project, it doesn't really mean that much, it's small amount. A project like this could mean a substantial amount. So when you take on a project like this that could go on for a length of time, what happens is prices fluctuate, they go up and down. So that's why we take a look and say, okay, maybe this project should be CM at risk. And what that means is that the contractor that's selected would provide a guaranteed maximum price, GMP, at a certain level of our drawings, and says, okay, I've seen enough of the drawings. We have a good substantial amount of the drawings complete. Maybe not every T is crossed and maybe not every I is dotted, but the contractor that's been selected has enough information that he can give us a GMP. We complete the rest of the drawings. There's a contingency balance in the contract with him, and what he does is he provides for all of the subcontractors. He provides all of that information to us. We look it over, and I think it's well established what that price is going to be. It will not exceed that particular amount of money. There's also in there a good contingency. We know what his fee is. So I think it's the best opportunity for a project of this type.
So if I could draw an illustration, and I want you to correct me if I'm mistaken, but when I was first sworn in, the one-stop building was already under construction, and there were significant overages because of some miscalculations or failure to calculate. And I think that would be an example. That was only a $6 million facility, yet we were over substantially, if you recall. And that might have been a facility that might have been better suited for CMA at risk. This facility is much more complicated, and this reduces the risk, the financial risk and the liability to the county to go over rather significantly. Does it not?
That's correct.
And that is the point of a CMA at risk being a part of the design process on the front end, instead of trying to fix design things that are missed in the design on the construction side, which can get rather expensive.
Let me just add to that.
I hope I'm saying that right.
You are correct, absolutely correct. Let me just add to that.
Please.
With a forensic lab, it's not just like a building.
Yeah.
It's very, very different in the sense that the paint is different. The air circulation is different. The door locking mechanisms are different. The floor is different. The tables and the chairs that go into this place are very different. It's not just a chair at this point. It's very different. The tables that go into this.
The lighting is very different.
The lighting also. So what happens is we have a specialist that's going to take care of that end of it. We have specialists that are involved with the MEP and E that know this type of work. But with all of this put together, there's a potential of missing something. This project is around 15 million, somewhere in that range. What we're saying is we are better off with a CM at risk than a hard bid. That's I think the bottom line.
I agree. I think that's.
And so what we're doing is we are, and I've spoken to Robert about this, if in this year's budget, 23-24 budget, we put 120,000. What is that not right, Robert? It's 120.
I forget the exact
It
amount,
was
but
something
there was
like
money set aside
Yes.
for a manager.
For a project manager for this project, we've not touched that money, so we're potentially moving that over to fund this CM at risk manager at this particular phase. I want to stress something. Just like when we contracted with Klein and Sweeney, or Bart Klein, to do the architectural and engineering work, we're not making a commitment to construct the facility at all. That's not what this vote's about. This vote is about making sure that we get good, clean drawing so that when we do go to bid, we have a number that is within our expectations of approximately $15 million. That's the only point here. The decision to construct the facility won't occur until, I would imagine, September at the earliest.
There's also the fact that there is I forget the exact term, but there's a certain amount of money that they get up, let's say, in the first couple of phases, which is minimal. But what it does is it causes them to really investigate the project. At that point, you have a decision to go forward or not. And they're only limited to that small amount of money.
And what is that exact amount of small money?
It could be
speaking of?
it could be 50,000. It could be 25,000. It's something that has to be
From
decided.
that, we would be assured that the bid that we get would be accurate,
What-
lock and key, so I think.
What it does is, let's say it's 25,000 for a project this size. What it says is that they will commit themselves to a number. You then, at that point, can decide would you want to go forward or not. That's what that says. In other words, they have done their due diligence. They have come up with a number that says this is a guaranteed maximum price. At that point, if they come in at $25 million, you can say, no, we're not going to do this. But if they come in at the $14 and $15 million, then you can say, okay, the contract, we go forward with the next phase of it.
Well, I mean, personally, I'd like to know what exactly they would be charging for a $15 million project.
Yep.
You know, is it gonna be a percentage?
It'll be in this, right in here.
Okay.
Y'all ready? We got 4 bids in. The first one is from Reeves and Young. That's your copy. There you go. I'll pass those around.
You kept the original?
Yes.
This looks like my high school annual.
It does.
It does. It's so fancy. Don't see the fancy box that
Rip
came
the
in.
cover off and put Smart High School on there. And it'll be just like
The gold dust. Was it the gold dust?
Yeah.
The gold dust.
Some years it was purple, some years it was gold. I think my junior year was white. Really? Yeah. Where'd that come from?
I don't know, it's 1970, 76 was the bicentennial year. I think it's something.
It's on the page, we wanted anyway.
Yeah. Well, I ain't seen anything yet. Charlotte Avenue.
Ron, if you could explain to the committee a little bit about how you're going to help advise the committee on doing the assessment of the
Yes.
different RFQs, it would be appreciated.
There's the second bid from American Constructors.
Passing it
By the way, American Constructors is doing our public safety buildings.
We got experience with it.
We do, and I will, and this isn't to prejudice the committee, but we're coming in under budget on the last Tesla's facility in a nice way, which we appreciate.
What I can say is that the bid requirements that were submitted or sent out to the, for review, this was the package that went out. Within it, there's the required information and scoring. There's 12 items listed. So each one of these has to respond to those 12 items.
Correct.
And I think if you take a look, like for instance on Reeves and Young, they've got 12 tabs.
Right.
On American, they have maybe 9, 10 tabs. They may have combined something in it. But the idea is that they had to respond precisely to this list of 12 items.
So for example, on this one, on the tab five,
Look for the bottom line.
it says 25,000 lump sum and then a 3% construction management fee. Is that what you're looking for?
That's right.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah, and so those 12 items were put together internally in preparation for this, so we could have, Chairman Gooch, we wanted a very binary format by which to determine who should be awarded this, if that makes sense. Because we didn't, only qualified, if you're not qualified to do this kind of work, you're not even going to be considered, no matter what your numbers are. So only highly qualified construction,
I think there's a tab for experience.
yes, there is, that's exactly right.
So what's the 3% construction management fee? What exactly is that?
The 3% would be, let's say they have a guaranteed maximum price, GMP, and whatever that number is. They have a fee of 3%, and some contractors will do 2 3/4, 2.5, and that is the fee they charge on the amount of work they've done. So every month, for instance, I get an application for payment.
Okay.
The application for payment
Is the 4.
lists the amount of work that was
We just had
completed that
4.
month. And there's a fee to it. That's what the fee is.
Okay.
We do. I know 2 of these well. No, 3 of them. I know 3 of them well. Only one I don't know is yours.
50,004%. This one's 50,004%.
I'm familiar with all of these except Reeves and Young.
Myself, the other 3 I'm aware of too.
Yeah. So I was just explaining what the fee was.
Yes. Brian, do you have anything else you want to add? I would assume, since we just opened them today, that you're not prepared to make a recommendation. Would that be correct?
That's correct.
That is a wonderful answer.
That is correct. Absolutely.
Ron, I got a question for you. We've opened these today
We got another one.
and assumed after you come back, if an approval was made, how long would this bid be in place?
Their bid is good. Once you approve it, it's good for the duration of the project, up to a certain
Well, the
point.
reason I'm mentioning that, this project has not been approved.
That's correct.
Oh,
And
And so what Robert
what I'm saying is it might be a year, it might be 2 years,
oh,
you know, that's why I'm saying, how long would those be in place?
that
So
would
I'd
be,
like to know.
yeah. I don't know if that's part of what was been written into this.
I don't think so, and that's a very important point, because as we're scheduled, I mean, can you give us a progress report, Ron, on the design and engineering by your firm, and when you expect to have a package for us? Can you share with the committee about when you think the drawings will be complete?
That's,
It's for the committee to make that determination.
yeah, that's a tough question to answer in the sense that we are first gathering up information.
Do you believe, I know you're hesitant to say anything, I'm not trying to pin you down, but I think what we're trying to do is based on that question, if the engineering plans are complete and we have drawings, let's say on August 1st, just as a date, how much long after August 1st does this body have to make a decision about whether to move forward with the project before we have to start this process all over again? Does that make sense? I think that's what Chairman P is asking.
Well, I don't want to spend money on something that, if the commission didn't approve it, you know, we're basically putting a cost on something that has not been approved by the commission. If it's not approved by the commission in, say, 2 years, it's still gonna be good. I mean, I don't want to spend
This
money
will,
for
this will
something that's
not
not gonna
be,
be.
this will not be good for 2 years. I believe we have a contract,
We do.
is that correct?
You do. With the county, you do. On this project, yes, sir.
Right, just for design purposes
That's
only?
correct.
Okay. What'll happen is, I think, just not knowing exactly what Bart has put together on it, but generally, when our project goes through and you reach the point where you all agree on that set of plans and specifications that we've come up with. At that point, if you don't have an approval to go forward, these are only good for so long. I think 6 months, 9 months from now,
Well, that was part of my question.
I think that's gonna be an issue, because prices do fluctuate. Now, they have not given you a price in here. They're giving you a process of how to get to that price.
I understand that, and I also see their percentage.
Now, that percentage,
Yeah,
yeah, that percentage is basically, it's similar. Bill, I would bet that all of these would be the same range, 2 3/4 to 3 1/2.
All of them are 3 except one is 4.
Okay, in that range, yep. So I think that's generally what's accepted in terms of CMAR risk. But again, when we come out and we finish with our drawings, let's say it's August, September, October, whenever it is, and the project is not allowed to go forward, these contractors may say, okay, it's good for 6 more months. It may be good for another 8 months, I don't know. That's a question, I don't know. I don't have an
but
answer to
and
that.
this is a question for the county attorney, but I believe, Robert, let's assume for a second that all we're committing is the CMA at risk, which is that portion that we've already budgeted for, so that we can proceed with the design. If the county commission determines they're not gonna go through with the construction of the forensic center this year, and we wanna punt it to the following year, then obviously the proposal, the bid is no longer good, because we're gonna send it out to bid, but we will still have the drawings. The drawings are still good, and that's the value of the CMA at risk. It's in the drawing, the engineered drawings. Those are still good. Does that make sense?
Well, I thought that's what he was doing, was the
We-
engineering the drawings.
We will do all of the engineering, we'll do all of the architecture, including all the site work and all of that. We'll have a complete package ready to be,
Well, what these guys supposedly are trying to do is making sure all the Ts are crossed and the
Right,
Is are dotted,
right.
and you don't miss anything
Right.
in your architectural drawing
Yeah.
and conceptions.
now, they will take us through a certain point with their review, and that's the preliminary part of their contract. In other words, it may be $25,000 to get to that point, and I don't know exactly how this is gonna be worked out.
So would you choose one of the 4?
That's correct.
Okay, and so do you need a motion to take these under advisement?
Yeah, I think that's what Ron is saying.
I think-
You wanna review these and
These
come
have to be
back.
reviewed
Yeah.
Right.
thoroughly.
Yeah.
And what needs to be done is I put together, it's almost like a spreadsheet, but it's more than the spreadsheet of just numbers. It's a spreadsheet of information for all of these and how they responded to the 12 issues.
And Klein has done this before.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this isn't their first rodeo on a project like this.
I move to accept these
Go ahead.
4 bids and take under advisement.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion.
The only discussion I was going to bring up, this project is similar to our judicial building, correct?
I'm not familiar with
Yes,
with
it
the
is.
project.
Yes, it is.
Well, you
Bart
might not
Klein,
work
Bart
on-
Klein.
My office maybe,
Yeah,
but
That's
the
correct.
office worked
That's
on it.
correct.
my office worked on it, but I'm not familiar with the
Yeah,
project.
It's similar to the.
Very similar. And we have CMA at risk on that project too,
Sure is.
as I understand.
And it worked out. That's
Look
trained
out,
on.
it worked out beautiful.
Yeah, and Jeff and Robin.
I'm working on a project right now for Bedford County, which is about a $39 million project.
What's the nature of the project? Ron?
It's a school. It's a public school, elementary school. The project was awarded for the purposes of doing the first phase of the work. And that phase of the work was $50,000. So they went through our plans, they worked with us, looking at what we were doing. When we completed that first phase with them, the school decided to continue to the next phase. But they had the opportunity at that point to say, you know what, forget about it. We're not gonna go forward. So that's why you've got 2 phases in the planning.
Yeah.
Is that the school board you're working with? School board or the,
I'm working with the county on there.
really?
Yeah. the county takes
Don't,
control over it.
Jeff, don't yield to temptation here. Don't yield.
We tried.
Stand firm. At least not now. I got to sense the train's coming off the tracks.
Yeah. Remember, we tried.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll bet the motion is second to take it under advisement. Call the roll.
Okay. Commissioner Phillips?
Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch? Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Pease?
Yes.
Chairman Clark?
Yes.
Thank y'all.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks, Ron.
Okay, thank you very much, and I
And,
will get back to you on this.
Yeah, just be discreet with the information.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Very discreet.
I've done this
I know,
many times.
I know. The last thing the county needs is, thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Rob, you're back up. If you, kind of like if you pick between door number 1 and door number 2.
If you need anything, let me know.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ron.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just so you know, I'm keeping these for myself.
Yes,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
Yep.
We are back to item, the items aren't numbered, but we are talking about the facility management landscaping bid. Rob, what did you, have you had a chance to review the 2 bids?
I have,
Have you had enough time to make a determination?
I have.
And would you like to share that recommendation with the committee?
Both of these bidders have met the specs that we laid forth for them. And at this time, I would like to recommend we award it to All Seasons.
Lowest bid.
Is that the lowest bid?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
That's also a Rutherford County company.
Yes.
They're in
Murfreesboro.
Murfreesboro.
Yeah.
Where are they located, Rob, do you know?
Well, if you look at their actual address, it's over by Lane Agroport.
Is that a problem?
No. It's his house, but he's
That's okay.
got, I don't know where his actual
No,
warehouse is.
that's fine. I mean, you know, I was curious in what part of the county. it was.
Well, I was
That
too.
makes no difference to me. You've worked
I actually looked it up.
You've worked
to
with this
see.
vendor, correct?
Correct.
And there hasn't been any issues, correct?
Correct.
Oh, that's fine. I'm fine with that. I was just-
I'm sorry,
Yes, sir.
Move to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a bevy of seconds. Pick one, Carla. Do we have any further discussion on the motion and the second to approve All Seasons? Seeing none, Carla, call the roll.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Phillips?
Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Commissioner Pease?
Yes.
Chairman Clark?
Yes.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Rob. Very much.
It's not on his actual bid here, but I.
You good? Okay.
Finally, do we have any other business? Seeing none, the next meeting of Purchasing Committee is April 9th, 2024. And if there is no objection, we're adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank